Greetings and hallucinations. Welcome back. I'm glad everybody made it back today. Um, we are going to cover skies, but before we hit the sky's the limit, we're going to hit narrow filters one more time because I left off one part talking about colorize, which is in narrow filters, which is kind of cool. And then I'll talk a little bit about the new stuff in Camera Raw, which is makes you think a little bit, and we'll get going. So let me go ahead and go into Photoshop. So I got to share screen, don't I?
That helps.
That does help. Photoshop. And everybody can see my screen.
Yep.
If you can't see my screen, too bad. Um, Neural filters. So we go to filter, neural filters, loading, loading, loading. And I just had it loaded a minute ago. Then we're going to go to the beta filters, which is the second one down on the left-hand side, and go to colorize. When I click on colorize, it does a pretty good job of the skin. So you got that right away. You can also add color to the background behind them, such as the, I guess it would be the building. And so I'm going to click on that, add a color. I'm going to go with a light yellow just to color it. And some of the problems that occur, it takes over a little bit too much.
Yeah, there's some bleed over.
A whole lot of bleed over. I'm going to bring the size way down. And so it's there, but it's not there. I'm not impressed with that portion of it yet, but I do like the fact that it does the skin really fast. So cancel that one, Command W to deselect or to close it. And the same thing here, narrow filter. We'll go to filter, narrow filter, open, open, open. Go to the beta, colorize. And again, the skin will do a really good job. Sometimes it'll pick up the blue or the green in the uniform. And then if you try to colorize the uniform, let's go with the dark green, because that's an army uniform. It bleeds over again. So if you want the face to be done very quickly, you got it made. If you don't want the face done quickly, you can do it yourself. But as far as just doing the colorize itself, it does a pretty good job. So for the faces.
Michael, I'm guessing you could process that twice. Couldn't you do one for the skin tone like you did, do another for the background, and then just mask one into the other in a layer in Photoshop?
Well, let's go ahead and try that. Let's go filter. Where are you at, filter? There you are. Narrow filters. We'll go to beta and then to colorize. Okay, we'll do the face and did a little bit of the background, so it bled over on the background as well. So I'll hit OK. And I'm going to do another layer. Well, let's copy that layer. Turn off the top one. And I don't know if it'll do just the uniform or not. Let's filter, narrow filter. If worse comes to worse, you can always do a color on the uniform itself. Yeah, it's going to make me do...
It's going to do the whole thing.
Do the whole thing.
But in this case, we don't care what it does to the face because we're going to mask the face out in the other
Right.
one,
Yeah.
is what I was saying.
And then mask the face out. Yeah, we could do that. Or with just the black and white copy, what you could do is go to your brush. I've got green selected, so we could go to mode into color. And that's like way off on the color, so that's not green, is it? No, that's blue. I'm colorblind. And just paint in what you want in color mode for that area, and then mask it out as well. So there's
Yeah, that
in
would work.
10 different ways in Photoshop, like they say. Okay, don't save. And I'm going to go into bridge.
Mike, somebody has to ask the ethnic question.
Okay, I don't have an ethnic picture, but if you can send me one, I'll be happy to try it for you.
Just curious. I would think that they would have included that.
Probably. Adobe has done some miraculous work with that, and I'm sure that they would be able to do the skin tones very well. Yeah, I don't have any pictures. Okay, let's go into Camera Raw. That's bridge. You can't see that, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Hit cancel. Open in Camera Raw, which should bring me into Photoshop. You still can't see that either.
Nope.
That would
Okay.
be correct.
Okay, stop sharing. And where did my zoom? There's my zoom. Share screen. And go to bridge.
And we have it.
You have it. Okay. One of the new things is if you right click on the picture or on the right side of Adobe Camera Raw, you have the three dots, which is more image settings. Go down to enhance. Or I believe you can also hit Command or Control Shift D and do enhance. In the enhanced version, you have what's called super resolution. Basically what this does, it will double the resolution of your picture. So in this particular case, I'm going to double it, I hope. Estimated completion
take
time.
5 minutes.
That ain't going to happen because it's such a huge file. It's going to take 5 minutes, but it shouldn't take that long. Most of the time it's under a minute. The faster your processor is working, the faster it will go. So it doubles the size of the image. You cannot double and then double it again. You can only do it one time. You cannot do it in the Camera Raw filter. You have to do it in Adobe Camera Raw, and I'm not sure Lightroom is doing this yet, but I don't think it is. I think this is kind of a beta thing for Adobe Camera Raw, and it works pretty cool. If you have an image that's 65,000 pixels in length, it won't work. Or 500 megapixels, it won't work. So if you got a super high-end camera like the Hasselblad H2O, you're not going to be able to do it. So that's one of the new things in Camera Raw. And then number two, I'm going to hit cancel on that. Your edit panels on the right-hand side. You can change those. I'm trying to see where it was at. I forgot where it was at already. Edit panels to show. Okay. I don't use the calibration panel. So here's, I'm going to set it to default again. I don't do calibration. So I click it off, click OK, and now it's no longer in my settings over here. So I'm going to right click, edit panels to show. I can bring it back at any time by hitting the default order. I use optics on a regular basis. That's the one that shows lens correction, and that's the one that shows I just got a text. Sorry, I got sidetracked. It also shows the defringing the colors on the outside. So I'm going to keep that one. I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to push the up arrow. Bump, 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 bump. It's now second in my line, so I know I'm going to do that. Curve, I don't play with curves very often, so we're going to bring that to the bottom, right above calibration. Color mixer and detail I use all the time, so I'm going to leave those in there. Geometry I'll keep towards the bottom. Color grading I don't use very often, so let's drop that towards the bottom. And now click OK. And you look, I have basic, optics, remove chromatic aberration was what I was trying to think of, detail, which is sharpening and noise reduction, color mixer for doing the luminance and saturation. And y'all know with like saturation, you can go to where it says adjust HSL. On the right, there is a targeted adjustment tool. You click on that little ball right there, and you can slide it up for more saturation, down for less saturation. And it picks the color, and you can see it adjusted aquas +4, blues 42%. So I don't have to decide what colors need to be adjusted. It does it for me. So the light blues over here does the same thing. So I'm going to click open, which will get it out of your screen and into mine. So I need to unshare again. And then I need to share screen again and go into Photoshop. And in Photoshop, we have this beautiful building. It's close to sunset. You can tell by the shadows on the building. And one of the things to think about, we're going to add a sky here. You can see where the shadows are at. So that tells you where the sun is coming from. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Edit, down to Sky Replacement. Edit to Sky Replacement. Everybody sees where that's at? We're going to click on Sky Replacement. And here we go. I have to wait for it to populate the fields really quick. You can see it spinning down in the bottom left-hand corner down here. And then also my cursor spinning on the picture. And spinning and spinning and
A little
spinning.
slow today.
That's because I'm zooming. And you can see that it added sky there. Let's zoom in a little bit. Not bad on the selection. But this is not a cloudy picture. This is a sunset picture. Okay. Undo sky, undo the blue skies, and go to sunsets. I think when I was playing the other day, I liked this one.
Now, are these still Adobe defaults, guys, or have you put your own in here yet?
I was going to go there, but these are all Adobe default skies that I'm playing with right now. I do have skies available that I use regularly. You can shift the edge. Let me get this out of the way and get the spinning wheel. You notice I slid it to the right and it started covering up the bottom left. It came down instead of where it was. So if I shift it all the way to the right, wait for the spin to get done. Oh, that's kind of cool. In this particular case, I'm going to keep it right about at 0. So, and every time you make an adjustment, the little spinning wheel says, okay, this is a huge file. In fact, let's do this. I'm going to cancel that. Command minus, go to image, image size, and let's go to 2,500 pixels. We'll make it small, but still decent size so you can see what we're doing. This should hopefully speed it up. My computer doesn't want to play. So we'll go to edit, edit, down to sky replacement. It still takes a little while. Okay, you can see it made a little bit of difference for time-wise. You can fade the edge so it doesn't, which only does a little bit. It gives you a little bit of blue sky above, but if you want it right up to the edge, just take it down to like 50, 51, and it starts covering the edge up and coloring that to match the area. You can also do sky adjustments. First one you have is brightness. So you can take it all the way up, and I'm exaggerating right now, and then all the way down. So if you want to match your building, I think I'll bring it up just a little bit. And then color temperature. This is a warm time of day, so you want to bring your temperature up a little bit. If not, take your temperature down, and it gets the blue, a lot more blue in there.
A quick question, Michael.
Okay.
If you have water as well, will this give you a reflection of your sky that they're putting in the water?
No. If you wanted to put the reflection in the water, you would have to do another layer, flip it horizontally, and then kind of patch it in. Matt Kloskowski has a good tutorial on that. So go to probably on YouTube, just Matt Kloskowski sky replacement, and it's about 3/4 of the way through his video.
Okay, thank you.
And it's fairly extensive. Otherwise, I'd get into it and try to screw it up myself. Okay, on here.
Can you try the temperature again? Because I noticed that I think the reflection in the sky actually does change the color with the sky. I think I don't know. I'm not sure. So can you
Okay,
try?
I maxed it out all the way to warm.
Didn't it feel like it changed a bit in the middle?
It does.
Yeah.
It does, because the color bleeds over a little bit to warm up the entire area. So it does do that, and you can see
Yeah.
it's a bit less warmer there now.
Cool.
So it does actually warm up the foreground as well. Let's move this up a little bit. And if your sky, in this particular case, you can tell by the shadows that your sun or your light source is on the right side because the shadows are on the left. If that was not the case and it was backwards, there's a button here to flip, which will flip your sky around the other way and put your light from the opposite direction. So in this case, we have to have it from the right. And then let's go to foreground adjustments. And you'll notice here that the foreground adjustments is not open by default. And I don't know if there's a way to default that to open, but make sure you click on that down arrow and you can check the lighting mode to either multiply or screen, which is just lightened up the building a little bit is when you hit screen. I think multiply in this case works best because it's a darker sky and you want to make sure that the sky matches your scene. Lighting adjustment, I'm going to take it all the way right, which darkens it down, all the way left, which brightens it up. And then color adjustment. Ooh, that just made my building really gold.
Warmed it up.
I like the warm windows. And we'll go the opposite way just for fun, which it cools it down. So I'm going to leave it warm because that's what I wanted to do in the first place when I shot this building. And so I may have to do my adjustment a little bit more, add some brightness. And then on the left-hand side, you have the move tool, which will move your sky. Hit Command Z to bring it back and it won't. So I'll just move it back over again. You have your replacement tool. I forget what they call it, but if you want to take it away, you hold the Option or Alt key and you can see that it paints it away. It's not very bright, but you can do that. You can also do that on the buildings as well, I believe. And it's not doing anything. Or you can paint it back by holding, just painting with the regular plus. That's something you have to experiment with to see how it works. I'm not too good with that one yet. And then when you're zoomed in really tight, you hit the hand button just like you can on Photoshop. It moves the whole entire image around, or you can hold the space bar and do the same thing. And then it also has a magnifying glass in there to zoom in and zoom out as well. Something else I was going to show, and I forget what it was. Sky adjustments, foreground adjustments.
I put the link for Matt's sky replacement and auto reflection tip in the chat.
Thank you.
Are you going to show the output to new layers, Michael?
No, you didn't say please. When you say please, I'll be happy to.
I was just noting that I think when you use the brush on this, when you go to look at the as new layers, you'll find that what that brush is doing is actually
masking it out.
Masking, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then you got your preview button down here, so you can preview what you've done. That's pretty cool. I like that. And then you have output, which is new layers or duplicate layer. I don't know why they put duplicate layer on there. I don't know what. I'm not even going to do that. I'm going to hit new layers every time. And what that does, it creates a group. So that's what it did. It created that by itself. And each one of these has more and more information in there. I'm going to open this up really wide so you can see what we're doing. If you decided you wanted brighter sky, just double click on the sun right there. Brings up your properties, and you can brighten or lower your sun down, whichever one you want to do. You can adjust the contrast as well. I'm going to take it back to 0. And then also the temperature, you can double click on that and you can add whatever colors you want. If you want more yellow and a little bit more red so it's warmer, you can do that as well. Or if you want to crank the blues up to make it psychedelic, reminds me of the 70s. For those young people, psychedelic was fun in the 70s. And you can also work with the masking tools here, which I'm not going to mess with that one on this mask. I do need to move the sky over a little bit. So hit V for the move tool. And the one thing I forgot on the sky, which I need to show. So let's go ahead and, oops, there's my layers. Go back over here. You're supposed to be with these guys all together. Thank you. I'm going to get rid of that group just for fun. Go back to the sky replacement. Put that one back in again. And if you hit scale, you can adjust how the clouds show up and then move them around however you want them. Or you can make them smaller and look really stupid. So you definitely got to be careful when you use the scale. If you go too small, it's going to cause some issues for you. And I can type in my number 100 to go back where I started. So that's one example of the sky replacement tool. Command W, don't save. Go back to bridge, and I'm going to open Aaron Nace from Flern is another person to follow. Everybody can see this image right here.
Yep.
He also did a tutorial on this, which was pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is, he recommends making a new layer, but you don't need to make a new layer because it's going to add it on top with other layers. So I'm not even going to do that, but I am going to add sky replacement. And now that looks really natural, doesn't it? Okay, so obviously sunset's not going to work. Spectacular, let's add a, that might work, a little rainbow in there. But let's go to blue skies. And just kind of, you go through and pick out the skies, the clouds that you like. And I think I like this one. Any objections? Good. Okay, brightness. You need to take a look at the entire image, especially looking at the side of the building. You know where the sun's coming from on this one pretty easily. It's coming from the left. So look at the clouds. The sun appears to be coming from the left-hand side here. And a lot of judges instantly see that the clouds are on the wrong side. I'm not that gifted like they are. Shift edge, fade edge. It looks like it did a pretty good job of doing it by itself. Color temperature. Go more towards the cool side. Brightness. Just kind of play with it, see what you got. I think because this is a bright day, you almost need to go with the bright. You'll notice in this window here, there's no clouds. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's not really showing up there. So we'll go up to our brush up here, click on that, make it the right size, and hit the Option or Alt key and take out the building up there. Double check all the other areas. And you can see a little line along the side here, and that's where I'm hitting the shift edge. I'm dragging it to the right, trying to get rid of it, but it gets too far with the rest of the stuff. So you got to be careful how far you take it. And there's also windows up here as well. So we'll unpaint those so everything comes through. And paint that back in along the edge. And then again, here we go, multiplier screen. Multiply darkens the foreground, darkens the building. Screen will lighten it up a little bit. I tend to like the screen on this particular one. And the brightness of the sky is still a little bit, it's hard to match, so I don't know. And let's go ahead and click OK, because I'm going to send it to new layers. And let's show, okay, to get to, I'm on the layer that says sky, and to get to the mask there in black and white, hold the Option or Alt key, and you can see there's a bit of a haze around the outside of the building. We're going to paint that out. So make sure you're on the mask. Go to B for brush. Mode, you want to change to overlay. And then when I paint with the white brush, you can see that it paints the white areas, or the really light, less than 50% areas, it'll paint. The darker areas, it won't. So we'll go to X for the black areas, and we'll paint those back in, which will kind of keep the sky off a little bit. And that's like a little too much, I think. Let me go back. Whoops. That was not how I wanted to do it. Okay, now you're messing with me. Sky replacement is in. Go to sky. Hold the option key. I'm going to take my opacity down to about 50% just to make sure I have white. And then you just paint in the area that you want to keep light. Get rid of that fog that was around here. So you notice as I'm painting with the white that it's not affecting the dark areas. That's because we're in overlay mode. And it's probably still too bright there, so we'll go back into there one more time. And what I'll do is drop my opacity down to about 10%. And you have to go over it a couple times to make it actually happen now, instead of with the brightness like it was. And you can see it's a little bit clearer on the left hand side now. When you get done doing that, make sure, this is important, because you're going to call me and say, Mike, my brushes are screwed up. Make sure you change your brush back to normal. Change your brush back to normal. Mel, I see you taking notes there. Good job. You won't be calling me asking, why is my brush not working?
As you know, I do it.
You and about 10 other people. And I'm going to go, I don't know why your brush is not working. And I go, what'd you do? Check your brush settings. When things don't work, check your settings. If you start painting, let's go with a nice bright green color, or a red color work. We're going to paint with red right now, and I'm going to change the hardness to 100% so you can see it. I'm painting with red. Why is it not painting? Okay, I'm at 10%. I don't care. That'll work. It's because right now on my sky layer, my mask is selected. That's why it's not doing anything. You're painting with red. Only black and white work. So let's go to the background layer, paint with red, and it's not working. It's working. Oh, it's changing to green now.
Because your color picker's on green, yeah.
That's weird. I don't know why it went to green. Okay. And it's not painting very heavily. That's because I'm at 10%. No problem. Hit 0 on my keyboard. It takes my opacity back up to 100%. And I paint. And you'll notice something. You'll go, wait, why is it only doing the building? Any ideas? Sky replacement is above it. Sky replacement is above it and masked it off so that you don't see. This area is probably the gray area right here on foreground lighting. So that's why it's only doing a little bit there. Trying to think of what else we got here that's important.
One thing, Michael, that I think is interesting is how do you make sure when you have white, like this building is, that the color tones on it now reflect the right color? Because it looks like the color of the sky and the reflected on the white, especially on the dome, is a little bit off from a color standpoint.
Yeah, what happened, let's go ahead and go back to sky replacement, and we'll go back to this one right here. When I hit the Option or Alt key and show that, you can see the top of the dome has a haze around it, and it also is not black. If I were to paint it in black, so let's go to B for brush, D for default.
You're in normal mode.
Shush. Shush. I would have figured it out. Let's go about 30%. Change it to soft edge brush. And the way I got to the soft edge brush is I just right clicked on my mouse. So at 30%, in fact, I'll just paint a spot right here so it shows up. And then Option click. You can see it's a little bit cleaner there now.
Mm-hmm.
I took off the haze that was on it from the mask that Photoshop masked it. So if we do the whole thing, and I'm doing with my mouse really quickly, not worrying about all the weird stuff, and X. Then Option click on that again. Well, you can see a little remnant right there of blue from the sky. But that cleaned it up using the sky's mask right here on the right-hand side.
Anytime we have white in the foreground or in an object, we're always going to have a problem, because going back to my old chemical days, my teacher always telling me, hey, if you're photographing snow, what color is it? No, it's not white, it's blue.
It's blue.
Like the sky.
I'm finding out that our sky, or our snow up here, is actually kind of a hazy brown. A little gray, more gray tone, probably because I exposed it.
Atmosphere there, huh?
A little atmosphere, and I probably exposed it wrong too, so it's a little grayish brown. So I'm learning about snow. It's a challenge up here.
Have you ordered your snowblower yet for next year?
No, but I have a snow shovel. Luckily I have a short driveway, so I have a shovel that works just wonders. Any other questions? The biggest thing is to look at the direction of the light. As you look at this lighting direction, let's say right here, it's coming from, let me get my brush to red, hard edge brush, and then we'll go to red so you can see it again. Change my mode back to normal and opacity 100%. The direction of the sunlight is coming. Let's do this. Command Shift Option E, put a new layer on top. The sun is actually coming from this direction. You can tell by these shadows right here. So you look at the shadows and decide where the sun's coming from. And then as you're doing your sky replacement, make sure that you have the sky coming in from the right direction. Okay, one more thing about sky replacement. Let's go to Edit, Sky Replacement. I've already got a sky in there. So let's go ahead and minimize the blue skies. I am going to hit the file folder right here. And basically what that is create a new group. So I click on that and I'm going to name it mics because mics are very important. Click OK. That just created a new group. I'm going to add new clouds. So I hit the plus sign right next to the trash can. And I don't know if I put any in this one or not. Let's find out. Can you guys see my screen right now?
Yeah.
Okay. And I did not do that. So let's go ahead and go to photos, stock photos, clouds. And when you add clouds in, that's clocks. I don't want clocks. I want clouds. There we go, clouds. When you add photos in, you have to remember to clean them up before you put them in, because you ain't going to get a second chance. If it's a raw file that you're putting in there, it won't ask you to go to raw. It will just put it in. So I'm going to go to the raw file, which is this one. Click open. And it just drops it in. So people think that I'm weird because I am always going out and photographing skies when I see clouds. I have to. I have a cloud collection that's unreal. And they got beautiful clouds up here, so I can expose them properly, not the snow. I just added a new thing on there. And again, our lighthouse, which has the white, took on a whole lot of the cloud. And you can see that's a really small cloud because on my point and shoot. You see how it degenerated as you got into there? Shoot it with a good camera so you can get some good shots.
Mike, is there a limit on how many of your images can you upload onto their cloud?
One at a time.
No, but total images.
As far as I know, you can upload as many as you want if you have the patience to do it one at a time. But yeah, you can't do more than one at a time on there. And I don't know why, but that's in this version right now, which I'm sure they'll change it. You can only do one at a time. But as far as I know, there's not a limit as to how many clouds you can put on there.
All right.
Now, are those files being stored on Adobe's server, or are they just being put in a different folder within the Adobe app on your computer? So they're
Really?
taking up more space?
You're gonna ask me that question?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sadly, it seems like the smart thing would be to just link to those files the same way that Lightroom does.
It may do that. I don't know.
I'm led to believe they're in the cloud. I have searched my computer every which way, but upside down, and there's been a lot of discussion on various forums about this, Adobe forums, and Adobe is quite aware of the.
You muted yourself, Hutch. Still muted. There
you go. Yeah, no, Adobe's quite aware of the fact that Luminar allows you to upload a whole bunch at a time, and they are assuring people in some of these forums that they are aware of the problem and are going to do something about it. So I was kind of hoping to see something before now, but there's no question that they are aware. And again, I believe they're in the standard ones are in the cloud because you can't find them any place on the drive.
Yeah, I've got mine stored in. Well, I've got them in my cloud, in my stock files. Clouds up the wazoo, and I don't know if you store them in the cloud, does Adobe have access to them to give them to other people?
No,
That
I
would
don't
be-
think,
I don't think they would.
I don't think they put yours in the cloud, but the standard ones, I believe, are in the cloud.
Oh, okay.
Yours are located on a local drive.
So they are located on our drive then.
Yeah, and I do the same thing you do. I've got them all divided by category of cloud and color and what have you.
Well, I'm not quite that smart on category of clouds. I could do sunsets and daytime clouds, but I'm not into stratocumulus and all
Well,
those.
Not to the extreme, but in fact, I never bothered with it until I found this problem with only being able to upload one at a time. So I found that by dividing them up, at least, and I think I've got maybe 6 different folders of different cloud settings, and that helps me find them when I want to find one to
Yeah.
upload.
I've got daytime and sunset, and that's about it. So cool. Well, thank you everybody for being here today. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Michael.
Awesome.
betcha.
Thanks, Michael.
Want to
Thank
kill the recording?
you.
Yeah,
I will-
thank you,
Usually
Michael.
I will
learn
stop
how
the
to